Chapter 62 Simple Reasons. Gong Ding was recognized as one of the strongest experts in Kyoto. He did not know how many times in his life he had experienced the test of life and death, but he had never expected to meet such a powerful figure in the heavily guarded Kyoto, next to the Temple of Celebration. The aura of the person behind him wasn't very strong, but that perfect feeling of blending in with his surroundings was something that Gong Ding had only ever seen in his entire life on his senior uncle. He was a fellow master and brother with the Kyoto Guards, and his senior uncle was Yi Luyun, one of the 4 great masters of the world. It was simply unimaginable in his knowledge that a patriarchal master would disregard his identity and appear behind his back like an assassin. The room was quiet for a long time. The tail finger of Gong Dian's left hand shook gently, knowing that he could no longer maintain this passive parody. A cold light appeared in his pupils. Without warning, the true chi in his body sprinted out, his entire body transformed into a gray dragon, his left foot kicked backward, his right hand hooked, clang. With a clear sound, the blade cut through the air, transforming into a fearless chop, slashing behind him. With a muffled grunt, the blade chopped in the air. The mysterious Zongshi level expert from earlier was long gone. Gong Ding's internal force is strong, so shed body and out of the knife after swinging empty, simply unable to collect the divine breath, chest as if struck by lightning, heat flow rush up, 2 blood from the nostrils seeped out. Looking at the empty ground, Gong Dian's eyes did not have fear, only a trace of confusion. The other party obviously has the ability to easily assassinate himself. Why did he leave in the end? He turned to think of the teenager yesterday whose technique was extremely similar to his own, and guessed in his heart that the sect master level expert who had just passed away as soon as he arrived might have some connection with his own division, and that's why he was merciful to himself. After resting for a while, he walked out of the hut he was lurking in with a somewhat resigned look, preparing to return to his house. Why didn't 5 bamboos kill him? Obviously, it wasn't because of Yi Luyun's incense love. To know that 5 bamboo was a monster that even Yi Luyun dared to kill and wanted to kill. In fact, the reason is very simple. Yesterday Gong Dian made Fan Xian spit out a mouthful of blood, so today, 5 bamboo is going to make Gong Dian spit out a mouthful of blood. Things are as simple and clear as that. Back to Fan Mansion, Day Fashion is early. Fan CJ is still in the study to drum up his earning big business. Rua do not know to whom the family went. The whole garden inside, there are only some respectful subordinates maiden. Although some of the maiden was born really handsome, but Fan Xian at this time the mood is not good, coupled with the environment is not right. Of course, there is no interest in flirting. The whole cup of tea to drink, he frowned thinking, today in the Qing temple who is actually... What was the other party guarding himself there for? Could it be that the girl in white has left a family member who is specifically waiting for himself? When he thought of this possibility, Fan Xian's heart warmed up, but then thought of 5 bamboo's transmission. His heart immediately cooled down. If it was what he guessed, Uncle 5 Bamboo would definitely not care about it. That wooden man of his. He was not very curious about children's affairs. Changing into a lighter, thinner garment, and pulling the belt around his waist in a haphazard manner, Fan Xian walked into his father's study, and was somewhat surprised to find that Uncle Sinan was actually in the study. There are few things going on in the ministry today. Fan Jian made his son sit down and said quietly, "You've been in the capital for a few days now, don't spend the whole day just fooling around outside. I already know about what happened at the restaurant yesterday, this kind of conflict, in the future. Avoid it if you can, don't be like that no-good brother of yours." Fan Xian laughed bitterly and didn't want to explain more. Suddenly he thought of something and opened his mouth to ask, "Father, when can I go and meet that Miss Lin family?" Fan Jian seemed surprised that the teenager would make such a suggestion, and said with a smile, "When you get married, you'll have to see it every day, so are you still in a hurry for this moment?" Fan Xian pursed his lips and said, "After marriage is after marriage. I don't want to go to the bridal chamber without knowing what my own daughter-in-law looks like." He thought for a moment, and then said with a smile, "I see, sister, that Yi Linger and County Lord Rugia they are also out from time to time. This defense of men and women, it's nothing, right? Young men and women, seeing one another is naturally not excessive." Fan Jian smiled and explained, but you have to know that Miss Lin's identity is somewhat special, although her surname is Lin, but with the Prime Minister's residence is not too much to do with, since childhood is to grow up in the palace. His Majesty in order to the face of the royal family, but also in order to the eldest princess can often see his daughter, so she received her as a daughter of the righteousness of the county as a county princess. But this sheriff is not the same as Zoji of that little girl. Fan Jian's voice was a little suppressed, although perhaps there are very few people in the world who know that she is the daughter of the eldest princess and know that she is the daughter of Lord Lin, but no one dares to say or admit this matter. She lived in the palace for many years, and very few people were able to see her until the beginning of the year, when she moved out because of that incident and her poor health. Fan Xian sighed. It was precisely when I heard that she was in poor health that I wanted to go and take a look. Maybe I could help. Fan Jian frowned and said, you and Fei Jia have only been together for a year and a half. Do you dare to say that you are better than the imperial physician? Young man, be humble and cautious. Fan Xian answered yes, but remained undeterred. But you have to let me know what she looks like, right? You married her, not for her, but for what she represents behind her. Fan Jian looked at him coldly. You must shed all impractical ideas and smash any stale warmth as hard as a rock. Fan Xian frowned with some distaste and said, I think you're speaking in stereotypes as well. Fan Jian said with slight anger, how do you speak? Fan Xian smiled and responded in a respectful manner, as I've said before, I'm not a very controlling person. Don't you want to take back everything that was already yours? Fan Jian seemed to have thought of something and returned to his calm. Fan Xian was stunned, then said very seriously, in fact, when I was in Tanyu, I learned a lot of things, and I believe that I have the ability to obtain something in this world that corresponds to my own ability, and if I can take back my mother's family business, of course I won't be opposed to it, but it must be based on my will. If I will, I will do it. If I will not do it. It is as simple as that.